Hey, what's up guys, it's ElasticSpyder, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Tier 10 British light cruiser, the Minotaur. So, I just recently got this beautiful ship, and yes it is beautiful, and I was expecting a lot from this coming from the Neptune, which has a awesome 4.4 second reload, great AA, that definitely does rival the Baltimore, and that is also some very good firepower. But also has some great torpedoes. The concealment is not the best, but so far I've been liking the Minitar so much. It seems like a straight improvement, which it should be, from the Neptune. As you can see, I've got 8.9 kilometer concealment. I've got 7.2 kilometer AA range, which is just perfect. And I've also got a lot of torpedoes, smoke, heals, and hydro, all ready to counter the enemy destroyers, battleships, and even cruisers. So again, as I always try to do, I try to have the mod on the screen to show you guys and help you guys figure out what I'm aiming at and how I'm aiming, so you guys can learn a little bit more from the way that I play and try to implement that into your gameplay. So get spotted. As always, I'm using priority target. You can see right before I went off the grid there's 6 people looking at me. A few of those probably were battleships, so turning towards the battleships is not a bad idea whatsoever. Which I do, and all of those shells go over my ship. One thing I do want to mention here is that as soon as I popped my Hydra, I realized that the Missouri is within radar range, so I'm thinking it's time for me to leave here. A Missouri can definitely one-shot a Minotaur, no problem. So instead of sticking around, I'm going to back up and let my destroyers do some of the capping, because they can do a much better job of capping the objective than I can. They're much sleeker and stealthier than I am. So I'm going to let them do that. But I'm still going to stick around. I'm not going to completely abandon them. I'm just going to try and get outside of this Missouri's radar range. Do a little test shot there. See if I get spotted by a plane, which I do not. Which is, of course, great. But unfortunately, the Missouri does go out of sight. So, what do? I just keep backing up, because there is a smoke cloud there. So, I want to get at least far enough out of his radar range for me not to have to worry about radar. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Slowing down, going to smoke up. There's quite a few battleships here that I can shoot. One of them's in my range, and a few more are coming into it. So there's no point in moving up a little bit and having the risk of the Missouri getting radar off and doing massive damage to me. Of course, my hydro is down, so I do have to be careful. But I feel that with 2 battleships in front of me and a few destroyers, I'll be a-okay with that. So I just hold down left mouse button and just keep doing. At this point, I remember grabbing a cup of coffee, going to the bathroom, reading the newspaper, reading Facebook. I'm kidding. But in any case, this is just easy damage. Something that the Minotaur does so well. Just constant DPM and just mowing people down. Missouri was flooding, but I actually managed to get the kill. Grossaker first. He is given a little bit better broadside than the Minotaur, than the Iowa was rather, but unfortunately he goes undetected as well. This will happen a lot throughout this battle. The enemy team will smoke, and then our team will smoke, and then there's a large period of time when there's just no one spotting, and a bunch of smoke is all over the place. So, with that being said, I do have to be careful now. Oddly enough, I don't have the smoke counter, so I'm not too sure when it's going to end, but I'm sure it's going to end soon. You can obviously still calculate this from just subtracting that time that it's active from the time that you deploy your smoke, and that's not a bad way of doing it. But I'm going to need to back off here in a minute. Do want to mention one thing is you can actually stealth fire in these British light cruisers, but seeing that there is a destroyer in the area, I'm going to just go into stealth. The Kerfers can easily penetrate my citadel, no matter my angle. So any of the battleships can, and so I do want to be careful of that. Azuma shell's coming in, but he expected me to keep going straight, but I decided to turn because I thought that there would be some shells coming in. So someone is a little mad in chat for whatever reason, but we have lost 3 of our destroyers thus far, with 2 left against their 4. So it is a bit of a struggle. I'm going to have to do a little bit more work on these destroyers than I'm I guess used to, but also more than I should have to. So again, pop another smoke here. My smoke comes up after around 40 seconds after being used because I run the premium smoke like a good British cruiser player should. But again, not much is getting spotted. Akizuki gets spotted, but a little destroyer changing course so quickly at 10 kilometers is rather hard to hit with these lofty shells. So I'm only going to land a few shell hits there. You can see 1 bounce. But, yeah, my main focus is going to be the Kerr first. Just because he's easier to hit and I can actually do quite significant damage to him. The Fletcher that shot those torpedoes into the smoke gets the Akizuki and is also going to get this Kerr first, maybe. We'll see. Nope. The Z-46 ends up killing him. Something I like to do a lot in the Minotaur is actually when I got a target and I know he's standing still, that's what the red circle above his head means, is I just like to hold left mouse button and then also hold right mouse button. This will keep your guns in place wherever you were aiming them, and you can free look. This is nice because I can reassess my situation. I can look to see what ships need help and if there's any vulnerabilities that I have. So if you notice there, I actually turn my ship in a little bit towards B, just so that if any of the torpedoes come, then I will actually have a much easier time to dodge those. Not gonna pop. I didn't pop my hydro immediately because this Fletcher was so kind to lend me some smoke. I did compliment him twice after the game because my theory is every time a destroyer gives you smoke, you give him a compliment. So destroyer gives you 2 smokes, you give him 2 compliments. That sort of thing. Again, not a foolproof system, but I think people enjoy it from both parties. So again, still peppering this guy. It's starting to get a little saturated. I'm not getting the classical 1-2K, but you see a lot of 1Ks, 500 here and there. But we're already up to 200 hits, not including this long hit train that we have on this Friedrich. And we're only at 80k damage. The game's about half over. Again, I'm doing the same thing, holding right mouse button. And this is one of the problems. You just shoot. I'm killing all the fish. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, man. Kiev is going to be moving forward because why not? So all my shells miss on him. Iowa's giving broadside. Now, this is where the Minotaur shines. 8 kilometers. 3k. 1k. 2k. 1k. Like 2k. It's ridiculous the amount of DPS you have with this ship. It really is crazy. I actually kill the Kiev, which is awesome. So that's 1 less destroyer, and we're actually even on destroyers. Battleships, we definitely have the advantage. 5 to their 3, and 2 cruisers aside, but they do have map control. And speaking of our battleship advantage, it is just dwindled down to 1 less. So Zhao was spotted, Hopefully someone will spot him pretty soon here. I'm assuming he dropped some torps, so I smoke. And I saw that the Fletcher smoke was actually running out as well. Or it was just about to. If this Zao is going to charge me, that's completely okay, because I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll gun him down so quickly and so easily. But it looks like he's actually going to turn away. Kiev gets spotted. Again, just shooting the DD. I don't, at this point, I know that the Kiev pre-patch had 4-kilometer torpedoes, but they might have buffed it in the most recent patch, so I do have to be careful and be mindful of that. Launch torpedoes at the Izumo. He's looking like he's not moving all that fast, or like he's going to be moving anywhere quickly. Start pelting him. Izumo's a little bit harder to hit, just because there's not much superstructure on him. Fletcher's giving me more smoke. Don't know if it's for me. Again, I assume that it's for me. Kiev gets spotted. I switch to him because he's smoking the Izumo, and that's always going to be a problem. I want to kill him as quick as I can. So I end up killing him. My torpedoes coming in on the Izumo, looking pretty good so far. Maybe I'll land one. Look, I'm looking like one. Get Confederate, land 2 torpedoes, 2 floodings each, and I believe he actually did burn his damage control there. If only I could switch to HE, right? So, blind firing in a smoke's not a horrible idea with the Minotaur. You've got a, like 2.2 second reload, 2.7 second reload. So it's, of course, not all that bad. For the 4th kill, can I get it? I can get it. That is awesome. Still behind on points, about 100 points behind. And Zhao looked like he was going really slow, so I'm going to start shooting at him. So at this point, my smoke is coming back up. I can sit in this Fletcher smoke a little bit longer because it is US destroyer smoke. So I am confident that it'll last for a little bit longer. Pretty even though on teams, 5 against 6, so it can still swing in their favor. They still have the map control. I do have to be careful though with only 1 smoke left. I don't want to use it too soon because I might need it later on. Although I'm still at full health, so it's you know, I can take a little bit of heat before I go down. Fletcher smoke ran out. Hopefully I can get this kill maybe for my Kraken. Nope, Z46 grabs him. Iowa shooting at the Z46. He takes a big hit. Our Missouri goes down, and I'm just putting on the rain of fire. Although it looks like just rain because the shells are blue, but either way, getting some cheap damage off this Iowa. Managed to get high caliber right there, and we're looking at 191,000 damage thus far. I'll go over my captain build really quickly. So I'm running priority target, as you might have seen. One of my smoke radius. I like the smoke radius because it gives me a little bit better maneuverability in my smoke if torpedoes end up coming through. Then I've got superintendent for extra smokes and heals and so on and so forth. Baltimore comes through. I'm going to start aiming right at that frontal part of his superstructure. And you can see I'm doing a consistent 1k damage every single salvo. If at this angle, I will bounce all my shells on the Baltimore if I go straight for a Citadel, so I have to just suck it up and go for the superstructure, although it seems like it's taking forever. He's bleeding health very, very quickly. Any day now. Need to aim a little bit higher. All those are actually bouncing. Shoot a plane down. Okay, so I've got manual. Then I've got manual fire control for AA, and then I've also got concealment, because that is the first thing you need with the Minotaur. And then I believe that's 17 points, so I still have 2 left, I think. So Zhao gets spotted. Unfortunately, I put out a fire, and then he gets a fire right after I put one out. But it's okay because I've got a great British heal, and I'm not too worried about that. So far, 228 and climbing 230,000 damage, and oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this, guys. But I didn't realize how many hits I had. But I'm at 784 right now. That is a record for me. My previous record was with the Kiev, and 200. Oh no, it was 400 hits. 400, a little over 400 total hits, with a few secondary hits, because the Kiev did have secondary battery at that time. So 3 minutes left. We are still down by about 100 points. So I'm going to need to rush this Iowa. Which is something I don't really want to do, because his 2 front guns alone can definitely delete me very, very quickly. But I'm going to have to do it. But I do want to mention something here. Something I do is I wait for... I see that there's a battleship behind me, so I wait. You can see I wait for him to get detected, so that when I come, hopefully he can bait the Iowa to shooting, so when I come, I can just launch torpedoes off at him without being spotted. So he should be shooting pretty soon here. There we go. He was trying to get the preemptive shot on that Montana, but that's completely okay, because, well, he's screwed now. Got my 2 torpedo sets off, but actually it probably wouldn't have mattered. Just Minotaur at this close range, yeah, I'm always gonna win. So I actually managed to get a Kraken with the torpedo. Shells coming in from that Zhao. Will they miss? Well, only 1 hit. And I have really yet to take all that much damage. So we actually managed to get the 3rd cap, Alpha, and thanks to our Fletcher, so he's done a great job of smoking me up, keeping me safe, and also spotting and doing other stuff of that nature for me. So looks like at this point that the enemy team is in some deep doo-doo. We have all 3 caps. We're leading by on the point, and we have 3 ships left compared to their 2. However, a Z46 on 1,600 health is not something to brag about, but seeing that I'm still alive, it is certainly gonna be a little bit more difficult for the enemy team. But I do have to be careful, because I have used up all of my smokes. So yeah, I am definitely gonna have to be careful, because again, Zhao Ichi against a light armored cruiser, he can do very good salvos even with HE. I've seen 8.5 to 9k on the upper end, and even 6k on the lower end, on Minotaurs, and even like battleships superstructure too. If you land at least at least half to a majority of your shells, you're doing 6-7k on most enemy ships. But again, like light British cruisers, they do take a little bit more HE damage, because most of their ship is actually penetrable by the Zhao's HE. So the one thing I like about manual fire control is that I can target this plane, and it will be it will be shot down relatively soon. The Fletcher actually uses defensive fire and kills him. Zhao's on 7k HP. It looks like he didn't have a heal. I'm trying to stay angled in, but I noticed that the Zhao is not actually looking at me, so I'm going to unleash my full broadside. But the game actually ends. So looking at the screenshots here, 542,000 credits, 6k XP, 316 free XP, Confederate Kraken, high caliber, 257,000 damage, and look at this, 838 shell hits. That is crazy. 5 ships killed, 1 assisted base capture, and 1 plane shot down. Team score, 2,806 base XP, certainly a great match overall. And then finally, we have the the detailed report. Didn't take all that much damage because not much was thrown my way. Again, thanks to my Fletcher buddies giving me smoke and sitting in my own smoke, I was able to do a lot of damage there. But yeah, I did manage to do a little bit of capping. You see 8 out of 179 cap points. And then finally, the credits aren't all that bad. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm certainly loving the Minotaur, and let me know down in the comment section if you are as well. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys later, and take it easy.